that people usually have this question about the Khatm Quran. How much should we read, and how frequent should we finish reciting the whole Quran? So as you see, the Quran, we have this whole Quran, this whole book, 30 juz. How long does it take to finish this? And we finish this entire book recitation in Tarawih prayers in 1 month. So if you see the lives of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the lives of the Sahaba, his companions, what they used to do, how much did they used to recite, and how often they used to finish the Quran. So if you look at different ahadith, different practices of the Sahaba and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, we see that there are different reports that we get. We get starting from 2 months, 1 month, and some people also complete in 10 days, 7 days. So the thing here is that if we look into a hadith, the saying of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Sahih Bukhari, the Sahabi with the name of Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, he approached Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So the Prophet told him, read the Quran in 1 month, the whole Quran in 1 month. So he was very enthusiastic about it. The Sahabi Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, "O Prophet Allah, I find strength to do more. I can recite more than that, more meaning much faster." So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that, then read it in 7 days, complete it in 7 days, but do not increase beyond that. That means, don't make it shorter than that. And we also see that most of the Sahaba, they used to complete in 7 days. And that's why you see, if you take any mushaf, you see different kinds of marks in there. And hizb that we commonly know, there are like 60 hizbs in the Quran. That is for people who want to complete in 2 months. And the people who want to complete in 1 month, there we call juz, the 30 juz, right, broken down into 30 parts. And 7 days, what do we call it? Manzil. It's divided into 7 parts. That's the one that we still have from the times of the companions of Prophet Muhammad. So that's one way of doing it. So and again, when I mean Quran, the completion of Quran, it is in Arabic. Regardless whether you speak Arabic or not, you have to recite in Arabic, learn the recitation, and complete the recitation. That's what Prophet Muhammad said. Recite the Quran in 1 month. That was his wording. And also, why do people complete in 3 days then? Because there's another similar narration, in Abu Dawud, that's another Sahih hadith, Hasan Sahih, wherein Prophet Muhammad told the same companion, Abdullah ibn Umar, that if he again said, "I have the strength to read more," he said, "Read it in 3 days. That is okay." So that's why people say it's fine. And you often see that sometimes people also complete in 1 day. You heard of that, right? They complete in 1 day, and those people actually take that narration from actually the practice of Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu anhu. He used to finish in single line. Allahu a'lam. So, important thing to know is that the whole point that why Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is telling us to recite often is that we take lessons from the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to say. That's what the recitation should be, geared towards understanding what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. So not all of us know the Arabic language, and it is definitely great to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. But regardless, we should still recite it. And also, people have different lifestyle. They cannot complete in 1 month or even 2 months. Like the scholars say that it's possible that there are few people, their work schedule is so that they cannot complete it, or they have different house responsibilities, or their health cannot, it doesn't support them. And also sometimes we see that the scholars who are like very much into tafsir, the interpretation of Quran and commentary on Quran, they're like full-time spreading the knowledge of Islam. For them, they might not find some time. So the scholar said for these people, it's okay for them to like delay it. I mean, what we are saying here is that it is not obligatory. It is not compulsory that you finish the Quran. This was just a recommendation from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that you complete it in 1 month. So So we don't have to force ourselves. We can try to make our schedule fit accordingly, but don't have to like force ourselves into like completing the Quran. And sometimes what we see, what happens is that when a person forces himself, he tries to read so much that sometimes he doesn't know what he is saying. And in fact, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, when one of you stands at night to offer the prayers, but he is unable to properly recite the Quran because he's too much stressed out because of sleep, or understand what he's saying, then what should he do? He should lie down. He should lie down. Why? Because he might try to ask for forgiveness, but because he's so tired, he might curse himself. He might curse himself, and that is really inappropriate, and that is, again, it's not respectful to the Quran. And he might even change the meaning, distort the recitation of the Quran. So that's why Prophet Muhammad, that's the order that he gave, that do not like overburden yourself. And the best thing is that the scholars say that when you recite, try to contemplate on the meanings of the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Go slow. We mentioned last time the methodology of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He preferred that when people told him that I finished Quran in this much time, he was like, I prefer that I recite small portion of the Quran, but I try to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying more. That is more beloved to me. So that was the practice. It's good that we recite more, but we have to give emphasis to the translation as well. And also the dua after completion, sometimes we complete Quran in the prayers, and sometimes when we are probably reciting at home, we complete the Quran that way, or different kinds of khatam. One is inside the prayer or outside the prayer, and this was the practice of one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu. As you know, he lived a long life. So whenever he used to complete the Quran, he used to call all his family members and have them sit down, and he would make a dua. He would make dua, and a congregational dua, and that was his habit, and that has been reported by many people. So that's something, and even Ibn Qayyim rahmatullah alayhi, he says that there is a moment where you should take the blessings, and because that's a time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very highly probable that your dua will get accepted, so you should make that effort to make dua. But as far as inside the prayer is concerned, we do not really have explicit evidence from the Quran or Sunnah that we should be doing inside the prayer, because again, in the prayer we are in a worship, and any action that we do, we need to have evidence, we have to have proof from Quran or Sunnah. So some scholars said it is okay, but otherwise it is not found in any of the practices. And the last thing that about recitation, we close this chapter with that. Should we read it in sequence, like starting from chapter number 1, Surah Al-Fatiha, and until the Nas, or can we read like in the middle, or can we just read Juz Amma again and again? Because last time I said that when we recite Quran, how many rewards do we get for each letter that we recite? 10 rewards. We get 10 rewards for every letter. So people might say, why should I just recite from starting to beginning? Why can't I just recite maybe Juz Amma again and again and again? Maybe I will memorize that Juz completely. So the thing here is that if we look at the practice of the Sahaba, radiallahu anhum, they used to read it sequentially. They used to read it. And another point of wisdom here is that, as we will see, the next chapter that we are moving into, these chapters, these surahs from the Quran, each one of them had some special significance. It has a blessing in it. So we will see some of them are like very highly rewarding. Some of them can protect you from maybe diseases, from different kinds of accidents and evils, and some verses can increase your wealth and risk. So there are different blessings of each and every surah. So what happens is that when we go throughout the entire Quran from starting to beginning, we get the whole package. We get different blessings.